Hey yo, it's the Pulp Show. It's your boy Akata, and today we're doing a gaming review on a game we play now. That groan is because I'm still freaking sick, and it won't leave me alone. Houston, this style of video will be a lot different. It'll be a lot more like, I guess humorous. Screw that monotone shit. On to the review. Today we are reviewing the casting of Frank Stone, a multiplicative horror choice game that focuses on narrative elements. Don't expect beat 'em up combos from Tekken from this one, boy. This one's a narrative roller coaster. Alright, so boom, straight into the madness. This story follows three sets of three different individual main characters. One by the name of Linda Castle. I'm not cutting those out, by the way. Them bitches staying in here. We're forcing this. A Sam the Sheriff, a cuck by the name of Jamie, a bitch by the name of Chris, and some random black guy. What I got though? Didn't you say three different distinct characters? That sounded like, who the fuck just called me, bro? They just ruined that, bro. Shit's a possible scam. Man, these Indians, bro. But yes, I said, oh my god. But yes, I said 6 distinct characters because this game plays with time travel. There's a Linda in the past, a Linda in the present. There's a Sam in the past, a Sam in the present. Then there's other characters like Chris and Adeline, I think. She's basically the daughter of Bonnie, who isn't even really an important character, so I don't know why they felt the need to add her in the present. But basically, the majority of the story takes place around the murder mill where Frank Stone has killed his people, which then he ended up dying and then became one with the entity or a being or a vestige controlled by said entity. But then after that, you go into the past day. Should I say past? Because Frank Stone dying happened in the past, but then you went forward into the past, 1980s to be exact.
You actually don't. You go into the future, present day. It's just that nothing impactful narratively happens there. That I forgot that was even a thing that happened. So it's my bad.
So I guess we'll call it the future past. All right, you go then forward to the future past, in which you then, for the majority of the game, kind of follow the creation of the Murder Mill film, which is a lot of bulk content because you're just sneaking around and walking. Nothing really truly impactful happens there. You just make your way back to the Murder Mill that Sheriff Sam has been trying to keep you away from. But, teens do what teens gonna do, and they sneak in there anyway. Although the way I'm telling the story is very summarized and expedited, I can guarantee you playing through it, it's just a slower version of what I'm saying. Like, there's some caveats, like, of course, you learn more about Frank Stone and who he is and why and what victims he chose and stuff like that. Typical narrative, like, express information that kind of like comes with the territory, But no matter how many times I keep on flash forwarding back to present day 2024, you barely spend any time in the present doing anything. And in fact, you spending that time in that present is such a unimmersive thing to the point it kind of immerses you into the story. Like before, I thought that they were going to pull, okay, so basically the choices you do in the past leaves things for people in the future, and if you don't do those certain things in the future, it can lead to future deaths from past mistakes or from past decisions you made, because that would have been a really cool thing. So I was really into the game. That's why I didn't really mind us having 3 timelines or whatnot. But then as I played through the game, they literally just up and fucking showed me a time machine in the game out of nowhere. We're in some bitch's rich house and she happens to have a time machine who literally brings Chris from her time into present day. And by the way, I just want to say nothing is really done with that. Nothing unique is done with that. Nothing. In fact, it just again tears apart the whole immersion. Then it just doesn't really make any sense. Like Chris, I'll literally paint the scene for you. You're about to leave the murder mill because you're having a beef with depending on your choice, you have a beef with your boyfriend, Jamie. And then the door opens and there's a green orb pulling Chris into the door and she's screaming, asking for help. Of course, then a random Dead by Daylight guy spawns in from the ashes of the film or some shit. And you have to decide to either risk your life as Jamie to save her or run and save your own ass, right? Just to say, if you don't save her, she flies into the door and just ends up spawning in a fucking time machine that's randomly in this rich bitch's house. Now, there is many issues with this. Forgot to say spoiler, but basically the reason why people are in the present house anyway is to unite the split apart and divided Murder Mill films, which is going to allow the entity to travel via film enter their world. You know what I'm saying? Via film, enter their world, and he's going to be able to bring Frank Stone from the film into the current day reality.
To add some more context, the cast themselves did not know the Murder Mill film tapes would actually do that. They just went to Augustine's house to trade it in for some big wads of cash. And although one could say, oh, they were tricked, Augustine was really sus off rip, and they're kind of stupid for not just leaving the house. Like, how do you not think this is a setup when the owner of the house is not even present for the majority of the time that you're there?
You know? But then this thing quickly falls apart when you realize that she has a fucking time machine that could like easily just like fix the problem. She didn't need to outsource anything. She didn't need to talk to Maddie, Sam, Allison, whatever her name is. She didn't need Chris there. She could have easily just went back in time and got the pieces herself. And I get it. Yes, at the end of the game, this is supposed to be some implication of a time loop thing. Like, she keeps restarting it and keeps on awakening the entity and perishing the same way. And the older version of her is going to keep on this loop going so the entity could just consume more and more worlds. Yes, I understand that. However, my friend, you need to understand one thing. Every one of her clones end up dying to the entity by the end of the game. And every one of them expect a reward of some kind. So then the question then becomes, bitch, why? Why? Hello? Why? She already has pseudo immortality anyway, so if that was the goal, she already got that. You have a fucking time machine. You know, you get what I'm saying? You could just place your peak you in the future. Congratulations, immortality achieved by you. You now live forever. We're gonna end the story segment right here. And if you feel like it's loose leaf, congratulations. Play the game yourself. It's exactly like this. Literally. The game starts off as a slow burn, and you think it's going to ramp up into something crazy. And when it does, the crazy lasts like a quarter of the game, and it's not even long enough to even justify what you had to go through to get to that. And then the follow through didn't really feel that impactful either. In fact, my first time playing through the game, I was really confused because I got like the worst ending because everyone died. And they were all pretty much the reasonable choices. Big brolic guy knocks your friend out. She seems unconscious on the floor. Do you decide to save her, or do you forgo her and save your own life? Reasonable logical explanation says run because there's no way you can save her. Game says no, that kills you. Or this, you find a pendant that alludes that it could protect you from like a dying thing, so you pocket it, expecting it to do something or pay some dividends later in game. Oh no, it just doesn't. In fact, it only serves to harm you. If you give it to Chris, she can't go back through the portal because she just dies on the way back because whatever, the damn stone is a bitch. If Maddie has it and she drank wine from Augustine, then she can somehow just get hypnotized from the stone too, because the stone is also, well, a bitch. However, if any of the characters who are rocking the stones get swallowed up by Frank Stone, guess what happens? I'm sure something would happen because the stone... No, nothing happens. It's just an artifact to say fuck you because we didn't have enough impactful choices in the game, so we just have to slide some shit on you that's just random in nature. And this will be good, you know, but it actively, you finding the stone just punishes you for being a good player and looking. That's it. It's not in the obvious place. You just have to look. If you look, you'll find the stone. If you don't look, you'll be fine, and the stone will not have any inquiries or problems with your gameplay. With most of these deaths, there's nothing leading up to it. It's just random. It's just so random. Let's have another item discrepancy. All right, so on my second time playing the game, after I accidentally got like Linda killed, right, on my first time, I was like, oh, I found the handgun. Instead of like snooping through Sam's journal, I got his handgun off him. So I'm thinking, oh man, okay, Linda's gonna be able to use this later in the game, probably when the monster is about to swallow up Madison. Maybe when I click defend, I could shoot him or something, you know, because I thought clicking defend just meant you died, because that's what happened last time to Jamie. I thought we were going logic here. No, somehow Linda clutches it with her bare hands, and she never uses the gun. You are gifted so many options in this game. There is secret dialogue, but it leads to nothing. To nothing. There's like one scene at the end when finally everything's hitting the road and it just ends so expeditedly. You either He either kills you all in the first attempt or he doesn't kill you and then you guys just run to a campfire. That's the end of the game. And before anyone just accuses me of not really understanding, bitch, I have 22 hours on this bitch. I looked it over. I replayed it again just to make sure I wasn't tripping. Let's go to subtle, more annoying quirks about this game. They have a whole thing called the cutting room. The cutting room is, you can see all the different branches of paths that you could have taken or whatever. You know, they did the stupid storyboard thing, knowing their game is sloggy, doesn't even allow you to skip a cutscene if you've seen it before to a decisive moment of choice. It doesn't allow you to do that. You have to replay the entire chapter to get this one deviation that does not even change the overall plot at all. Hey there, question. In the first chapter, when you're playing as Sam the cop, if you don't hit any of the QTEs, what happens? Does anyone know? I'll give you some time. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Nah. Fucking nothing! Most likely there's some like what Avatar costume changes, but like over in totality, the newspapers don't be like Sam failed to save the baby or anything. The baby has no impact on the story whatsoever. You don't fail to not kill Frank Stone. Everything just keeps on rolling. That's the terrible part about this game, right? It's the fact that like the promise is there. You God's promise. It's like the potential child. It had everything there. Boy was immersed. But then like, just like the final episode of anime, you just threw it away, gang. Don't let me get started on all the just like obvious padded ways, bro. The padded for time, the level design, the balancing segments, these things are all just made to pad in time because they need their game to be above a certain hour threshold. There's no point to do it. They're just doing it so it takes you longer to get to where you need to go. Like, just even look at where the generators are placed. They're random as hell. Don't need to be there. They just are, I guess, for like fanfare, right? But then also, conveniently, you always have to find a piece or two to continue the story. A piece or two. You gotta walk around the map searching for a piece or two. The overall story is incongruent. It's unimpactful. And it's a slow burn, but after you realize what the hell's going on, you realize that they just waste a lot of time. There's a lot of padding that just doesn't need to be there for a story that's this dense and not that complex. So, Akata, what would you rate it out of 10? I mean, it kept my attention for 2 runs. 5 out of 10. Which is a sad score, because it really could have been an 8 or a 7. ETG Production.